Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about shenanigans to quests. All right. So the reason we're going to talk about this is the 2020 is the Amazon Prime show The Outlaws. It's a fantastic show. I cannot recommend it to you enough. It's probably the best thing on Amazon. Actually, I guess it's not the best thing on Amazon Prime. The best thing on Amazon Prime is Vox Machina. So it's definitely podium level content on Amazon Prime. So I actually don't go to Amazon Prime that much for my streaming content. I stream a lot on Max. I stream a lot on Netflix. But, if I'm in a show hole, I'll go over to Amazon Prime. They often have a lot of good stuff. And increasingly, they're having stuff that I'm not in a show hole. I'm just going there because they got great stuff. The Outlaws is brilliant. It is a show about a group of scofflaws, literally criminals, right, who have been given community service, right? So maybe not at the level of a felon, right, but like shoplifters and, just scofflaws, people who laugh at the law, outlaws, right? But these guys are all together because they met in a community service group. Like those people who wear like the yellow and the orange vests, and they pick up trash on the side of the road. It's that crew, right? And the story goes from there. And actually, I'm not going to give any real spoilers for the show here. That way you can go and you can enjoy it. And I don't need to give any spoilers to get to what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is a character by the name of Ronnie. Now, Ronnie is Indian, and this is all to the best of my knowledge. If I'm incorrect on any of this, please correct me. Ronnie is a character on The Outlaws, and she's the main driver for all the criminal activity that happens in the show Outlaws. But it's interesting because she is very young. She's only like 19 years old, right? And she was supposed to go to uni. That's what they say. By the way, this whole show is British, right? And so she's supposed to go to uni, and she had parents who really pushed her and were like, you're going to be a doctor, and you're going to go to Oxford, and you're going to be the best student, and you're going to be the best doctor, right? And that's the only future you're allowed to have. And so she pushed against this, and the way she pushed against this was she was constantly shoplifting, and she was getting into trouble, right? And that's how she ended up being on one of these work crews, right? Is she broke the law by shoplifting so much that, and I guess they prosecute that over in Europe. That's kind of weird because like they kind of look down on us and say we're like, Europe kind of looks down on us and like, you guys are backwards. We don't even prosecute shoplifting in America anymore. It's like not even a thing, right? Like, I don't think it's even a crime here anymore. Like, and even if it's a crime, it's been decriminalized to the point where they won't even pick you up. It's the whole thing. It's incredible, right? But I guess in Europe, shoplifting is like a serious thing because she literally was given work, community service for it, right? Went before a judge, the whole nine. And what happens in the show, and the show gets into it, and it's a Walter White moment, right? And this girl Ronnie goes from shoplifter to literal drug dealer, right? Dealing drugs, harming people, violence, theft, narcotics, the whole thing, the whole nine, right? And she like full on Walter White's, right? And she was kind of, oh, I got community service. Oh, I steal a little bit here. No, I'm a hardcore criminal who really is seeking a life of theft, violence, and breaking the law, right? Like she up in it. This chick is going full evil in this show, right? And Ronnie goes from like, oh, I'm just a little scamp. I'm a little, like I'm in high school and I'm, shoplifting a bit. But when she hits uni, she's an adult, right? Like at this point, she's like 19 years old and she goes into a full life of crime, right? And at this point, right, season 3 has a beautiful ending. And the ending is incredibly powerful for Ronnie. Okay, no spoilers. You have to watch this show. It's 3 seasons. I cannot recommend it enough. And I feel really good suggesting it because this is sleeper. Nobody's seen this thing. I've literally never heard anybody talk about this show, right? Not once. I've never met anybody in my real life who'd ever even watched it, but it is phenomenal, right? And at the end, Ronnie comes to terms with who she is and what she is, right? And I realized she is an adventurer at heart who was never quested, right? So we come to Gary for wisdom, right? We come to Gary's legacy for wisdom, to show us the shape of the world, to help us to see profound truths in the world. We come to Gary's legacy, which is Dungeons and Dragons and nothing else, in my humble opinion, right? It's everything that he was, everything that he was about was there, right? It was really powerful, and it was transformative, right? And when I look at Ronnie in The Outlaw, I understand something. She was a criminal because she was never given the option. She was never handed the option to be a hero. What do you need to be a hero, right? And in seeing The Outlaws and coming at it, knowing everything I know from spending 1982 to 42 years in the wisdom of Gary Gygax, I know I know now, and I'm giving you this wisdom. I'm giving it to you. Gary gave it to me. I'm giving it to you. I'm explaining a profound truth of the world to you, in my humble opinion. Here it is. Criminals are simply adventurers who were never quested. They were never quested, right? The quest giver is important, right? You have to be quested to go on a quest. Somebody has to say, hey, you're a hero. Pick the sword up, pick the board up, conquer, slay the dragon. Slay the dragon. What am I going to get for it? Nothing. I'm sending you on the quest. Go do it, right? Do it. I'm questing you, right? And I realize now, adventurers are a specific type of person. They seek the edge, right? They want to see the gleam, right? But because we're at the edge, often we catch the edge and we can get cut, right? And the question is, what are you going to get cut for, right? Are you going to get swept up as a minion by some villain? And if you are never quested, but you have the heart of an adventurer, you will end up as a minion. You will end up as a henchman, right? But if you're quested, you will end up as a hero, and then you will end up as a champion, right? Now, I'm telling you, go watch Outlaws, because we're talking about adventurers like they're the only kind of people in the world. No, that's not correct. This is where Outlaws brings wisdom, right? And that's why it's every Dungeon Master content and every Dragon Master content. Every Dungeon Master needs to see this. Every Dragon Master needs to see this. And there's a character in it called Ben, right? And he gets caught up in all this adventure. He gets caught up in all these shenanigans. He gets caught up in all this crime, right? And the reality is, but at the end of season 3, we know what Ben is. He's not an adventurer. He doesn't want any of it, right? He's not seeking it. He doesn't want to see the glint of the edge, right? He never even wants to see the glint. He doesn't want to be there. He's not an adventurer. He's a commoner. He's a tavern goer, right? He's the stable boy. And it's not that he's nothing. It's that he's not an adventurer. And we can see this clearly, right? We now know people who do crime in America are simply adventurers who were never quested. Never quested. They never had a quest giver. And so they got, because they wanted to see adventure, because they wanted to see the action, because they wanted to see the glint of the edge, right? They get swept up by a villain and they become a minion or a henchman. Every criminal in America is simply an adventurer who was never quested. And I see this so clearly. I watched The Outlaws and I could see the shape of crime in America because I had 42 years of Gary's wisdom, right? And so once we realize this profound truth, in my humble opinion, right? We realize as dungeon masters, we are literally and figuratively the quest giver. We give the quest every week, Sunday night, 6 p.m. We give the quest at the table. But make no mistake, you give the quest Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to every Dragon Master at your table. What is the quest? What are you? What is the quest? Know yourself. Are you good? Are you neutral? Are you evil? The question goes from you, the Dungeon Master, to the Dragon Master, right? It's going from person to person, not character to character. That character sheet is a question. Are you good? Are you neutral? Are you evil? On Sunday, it's for the player character. On Monday, when that character sheet sits on the shelf, right? You are then seeing that question is there. That question is to you. Today, are you good? Are you neutral? Are you evil? And we're the only people in the world who are secular who are being asked this. Now, churchgoers and people of faith get asked this question every day, right? But I am passionate about Dungeons and Dragons because atheists and agnostics never get asked this question by anyone. They're all assumed to be evil, right? They're godless. Of course they're evil, right? They don't have a Gary asking, like if you're atheist or agnostic, you never get the question of if you are evil, neutral, or good. And now with Gary's wisdom and with this beautiful story on Amazon Prime, we realize criminals are simply adventurers who were never quested. And I'm convinced if we start dealing with people who seek the glint of the edge, we can keep them out. We can keep them out of prison. I literally think that Dungeons and Dragons, and this is why I keep saying we cannot allow fun to anchor Dungeons and Dragons anymore. I believe we can literally dramatically reduce crime in America by realizing that every single criminal here was an adventurer at heart and was simply never quested. We never said, see the edge, see the glint of the edge, but you're going to do it for good. And because we never quested them and we never called them to be a hero in the fiction world and in the real world, right? What is your alignment, right? We allowed them to fall. It's powerful. It's transformative, right? Gary's legacy. He is pounding on his coffin right now. Do you hear the boom? Gary Gygax speaks louder in death than he ever did in life, right? Are you good? Are you neutral? Are you evil? Asking a sacred question to every secular, right? The only reason for any atheist or agnostic to do anything good in this world is in a pine box in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Gary's legacy speaks. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. What's important is when I hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing and have a fetch millennium.